So hello everyone, this is day 10 of writing 15 smart contracts in 15 days. But today, actually, I won't be writing a single line of code, but instead, we will be exploring exchanges, right? Now, what is this term exchanges? Exchanges are very important in the world of Web3 because it helps create liquidities, right? And it also helps users to actually get the buyers and sellers for their tokens. Imagine if there are no exchanges, right? Like Binance or Uniswap. The users will be having a hard time to find buyers and sellers for for their tokens, right? So yeah, these exchanges are of two types. And what are they? The exchanges are of two types, and they are centralized exchange, and the second one is the decentralized exchange, right? In this video, we will be exploring about decentralized exchange, but we'll also touch uh, centralized exchange as well to get a contrast comparison between decentralized exchange and centralized exchange, right? So starting with centralized exchange. Right. So we all have heard the name of centralized exchanges like Binance and the CoinDCX, the India's India's largest cryptocurrency centralized exchange, right? That is CoinDCX. Now, what does a centralized and a decentralized exchange does, and how are these different from each other? Right. So in centralized exchange, right? If you buy if you buy Bitcoin, right? So if you buy Bitcoin, you won't actually get the amount of Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin that you actually buy is being stored into the wallet of Binance wallet address, right? It's stored in their wallet address, and they just return you the amount of Bitcoin that is in their wallet address, like, or they might be storing it into their database, right? And you are just getting that amount until and unless you are not withdrawing that to your MetaMask or any sort of wallet, that Bitcoin is not yours, right? That Bitcoin is not yours until and unless you are actually withdrawing it to your wallet, right? And how does the price gets manipulated in this centralized exchange, and how the buyers actually find the sellers and sellers actually find the buyers on centralized exchange? It happens using bidding or order book. But yeah, it happens using order book, right? And the users and sellers bid for it, right? Now, if we want to get deep into the order books, I'll be creating a separate video for it. But the topic for today's video is decentralized exchange, right? So pretty much now we have got an idea that in centralized exchange we don't own our crypto, right? We don't own our crypto. On the other hand, in decentralized exchange, it provides you a facility to connect your wallet and actually get all the cryptocurrencies into your wallet directly, right? Like MetaMask or something. And a good example of this is Uniswap, right? So over here, the swaps actually happen using a smart contract, right? And the most interesting part about this is how the price of the token in decentralized exchange actually gets manipulated, right? So yeah, in decentralized exchange, there is a smart contract that does swapping, right? And it has a liquidity pool inside it. Now, this is the most interesting part, right? Now, what is a liquidity pool? Right. So liquidity pool in a decentralized exchange is a pool of two or more tokens, right? So let's take an example that we are on a decentralized we are on a decentralized exchange like Uniswap. So I'll just show you the Uniswap. I'll take you to Uniswap. So yeah, it's a decentralized exchange, and over here it gives you the facility to connect your wallet. On the other hand, if you go to any centralized exchange, you won't be getting this functionality to connect your wallet, right? And they will say that just withdraw your crypto to your wallet address. They will give you that functionality, but they won't be giving you the functionality to connect your wallet, right? So I'll select other wallet, and I am having my MetaMask and Phantom wallet over here, so it has detected it, and I'll connect my MetaMask account to it, right? Yeah. So it is connected over here, right? Now, if I want to, let's say 100 ETH, right? Because I don't hold any ETH over here, right? So I won't be able to do that, right? Okay. But you got an idea that you can swap your currencies from here, right? Now, on the other hand, how this liquidity pool actually works and how the price of the token move actually, right? So there's a formula of liquidity pool that's X into Y equals to K, right? Now, this is a very nice formula to maintain the liquidity pool, right? To maintain the ratio of liquidity pool, right? So let's take an example that we are creating a liquidity pool of Ethereum and a token which I have made, right? So that's my token. So the ratio of these two tokens into our liquidity pool is 1 is to 100. Like there is one Ethereum on 100 my tokens, right? So yeah, so over here, the value of X is equal to 1, right? Sorry, I have written wrong over here. The over here it's X and over here it's Y. So the value of X is equals to 1 and my token's value is 100. So for one Ethereum, I get 100 my tokens, right? So this is the initial ratio of our pool, right? And so from this, we will find the value of k. So x into y equals to k. So k equals to 1 into 100. So that's x into y. So now what happens is the value of k gets locked, right? The value of k gets locked. Now let's remember the value of k over here is 100, right? Now I'll show you the magic, right? Now let's say you or I want to swap uh, zero point 0.1 ETH and get my token. So how many my tokens will I get? Right. So now let's say if say this zero point 0.1 ETH is being transferred to this pool by me, right? So now what will be the new pool state? So there will be 1.1 1.1 ETH in this pool, right? And what was the original ETH over here? The original ETH was 1 ETH. Okay. And the original Y was 100. Right. But now, as the ETH is 1.1, the new X is 1.1, the new value of Ethereum is 1.1, then what will be the value of Y? Right. So value of Y using this formula will get the value of Y because the value of K is 100. Right. So value of K is 100 over here, the value of new y, and the value of new x is 1.1. So from here, we got the value of new y. That's 90.9, right? So that's 90.9. That's new y over here, right? So now the pool holds 1.1 ETH and 90.91 my tokens. So how many tokens will I, so how many tokens will I get if I deposit, let's say 0.0 ETH to this pool? So I will be getting 100 minus 90.91 my tokens. That's it, 9.09 my tokens, right? Simple difference. Okay, right. So I got this tokens, right? Now the question arises that Dave, how actually the price of the my token move? Right. Now I'll show you that. Now initially the price of my token was 1 ETH for 100 my tokens, right? So how much for one my token? So for one my token, it's 1 divided by 100 ETH. So that's 0.01 ETH, right? Before I added this zero point 0.1 ETH to our pool, right? It was it was 0.01 ETH for one my token, right? Now after swapping, what happened? After swapping, the ratio became 1.1, this 1.1 to 90.91, right? So 1.1 ETH gives you 90.91 my tokens, right? 1.1 ETH, note this point, 1.1 ETH gives you 90.91 my tokens. So now let's find out how much ETH how much my token, how much, how much ETH will you get for one my token. So that's a simple division, right? The 1.1 goes here. So one my token becomes 0.0121, right? So from here, we can see that there is a jump in the price difference. It's minute difference, but it actually makes difference, right? Because 0.0121 ETH is actually much greater than 0.01 ETH, right? So yeah, this is how the price in a decentralized exchange gets moving. Right. Now there's a second term in this, that's liquidity provider. Right. So anyone can become a liquidity provider for the pool, but who is the liquidity provider? Liquidity provider is a user or a person who actually deposits equal amount of both tokens, right? If I am a liquidity provider, I will be depositing equal amounts of equal amount of tokens into this pool to maintain the ratio, right? And what does this liquidity provider gets? The liquidity provider actually gets the swap fees, right? The liquidity provider actually gets the swap fees on every swap that happens in this pool. Isn't it interesting? Right, that the liquidity provider is actually getting the share of the swap fees. Right. So yeah, this is how the liquidity provider works. Right. So yeah, and now on, let's go on Uniswap and explore some pools. So here are the pools. You can actually check that this is a pool of USDC to ETH. Right. You can go down and so yeah, so see, there are two options, just to swap, right, from USDC to ETH or from ETH to USDC, or you can actually add liquidity as well. And see, if you add the liquidity, you get a 0.05% fee on every swap that happens in this pool, right? So yeah, this was pretty much it for today. I found this interesting, so I thought of making a video on it, right? So yeah, this was pretty much it for today. See you guys tomorrow.